ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततन्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै। वर्स 23 शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः। So as I said, a very important topic of Bhagavad Gita is this: managing one's own likes and dislikes. In fact, that is an obstacle. There is no reason why human beings should not be happy. Really. There is no reason. Because with all accomplishment also he is unhappy. With no accomplishments he is unhappy. The source of unhappiness does not lie in the world. If source of unhappiness lying in the world that you acquire few things in the world and you are not able to acquire more things and therefore you are unhappy, well, that's understandable. That's very genuine. But after acquiring thousands and thousands of things, still the person is same complaining fellow. All centered on oneself, all uneasiness is still there. Person's activity reveals he is uneasy. He or she. He is not comfortable. Only greatest accomplishment is, are you able to be comfortable with yourself or not? That's the main thing. No one is able to be comfortable. Atmani eva atmana tushta. See the definition of Bhagavad. Atmani atmana tushta. One who is happy with himself. Then what is the obstacle? These are the obstacles. Likes and dislikes. Keeps you extrovert. And neutralizing that, well, you gain what you really want in your life. And that is because Atma is like that. When we say this is very beautiful, that is very beautiful, ultimately you are beautiful. One who appreciates is the most beautiful one. And our own beauty manifests when we really, in such an experience of a joy, etc., my own beauty is manifest. But not knowing about myself. And also not knowing about the world. looking upon world as a source of happiness or unhappiness, whatever, is all basically a superimposition. It's a problem of superimposition. It's a problem of a wrong perspective. That's all. Wrong perspective about yourself or about the world or about Ishvara also. About Ishvara also. That's how Ishvara also is a source of an object of a complaint rather. Ishvara also, looking upon Ishvara as other than yourself, well, definitely a lot of complaints in this pandemic situation to Ishvara also is there. So everywhere there is a superimposition. Not knowing self, ultimately, not knowing Ishvara, not knowing creation, ultimately this is. So, well, you can definitely arrive at the truth of all the three is one, but provided these two, Kama, Krodha, this Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, etc., or Ravana, Kumbhakarna will definitely leave you. And therefore, Bhagavan says here, Saha Sukhi. Well, relatively he is happy. Not even knowing the self, he is happy person who has, dealt with this one's own likes and dislikes. One who has manages one's own likes and dislikes, he is a happy person. One who is relatively happy can appreciate that I am the source of happiness. In order to understand you are a source of happiness, you should be relatively happy. Extremely unhappy person, if he is exposed to the teaching and a teacher says you are happiness, how he is going to appreciate it? No, he can't appreciate it. Anyway, so why the Bhagavad Gita talks about, as I quoted, several places this Kama, Krodha, dealing with the Kama, Krodha, obstacles, etc. is due to this reason only. So Prak Sharira Vimokshanat, until death, well, this force of this Kama, Krodha will be there. Ragadvesha operates throughout the life. Anger will be there throughout the life unless you address. It will be there. It will be there. Not that the old person will not be angry, it will be there. A child also is angry, and young also is angry, and old person also is angry. Everyone is angry. If you address the problem, well, it goes. The one who addresses a mature person called Naraha, a mature person. Sahasukhi, Bhagavan says. But you should do it Prak Sharira Vimokshanat, until death, meaning to make it clear that this force, the intensity, etc., of this Kama and Krodha, like hunger and thirst, will be there throughout the life. So the living person, well, this Vega, the force, intensity, definitely takes place. And so we have to tackle now this Kama, Krodha, desires. And desires should be there. As an individual, desire is a glory. And it should be there. How can you say, Swamiji, desire is a glory? You may be trying to console us. No. Bhagavan said, Kamosmi, dharma aviruddha kamaha ahamasmi, Bhagavan said. Here Bhagavan said, Kama eshaha krodha eshaha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyenimiha vairinam. In 10th chapter he says, I am the Kama. Here he says, Kama is your vairi. Kama is your enemy. So we have to understand. Only topic of a discussion in Bhagavad Gita is a binding desire. Non-binding desire is not a topic of discussion. Non-binding desire is as good as no desire. Fulfilled, happy. Not fulfilled, happy. Okay. Then that desire is as good as no desire. Such a desire, well, is a vibhuti. And in fact, one has to fulfill also. More the desires, more the healthy mind. Yeah, because basically the desires in an animal and desires in a human being, and you can understand all our progress, a scientific progress or technological progress, any progress in any field, ultimately is a result of a desire. All activities are, definitely the desire is there behind. So that the desire itself makes a difference between a human being and an animal. We have done progress in 1,000 years so much. And after 1,000 years, an animal is still in the same stage. Therefore, we have to understand, some people on the name of spirituality says the desire itself is a problem. Desire is not a problem. A binding desire is a problem. Otherwise, let it be there. It's a vibhuti of individual. It's a glory of an individual. Anyway, so here it says in terms of tackling this force released by this Kama, Krodha, etc. we must be alert. And we should not relax till they become non-binding. We should not relax. It does not mean that we become tense. A desire is a binding desire, we become tense. It is not so. It means we should not be indifferent to this kama krodha. And for a karma yogi, this alertness must continue throughout the life, until the death. That's what Bhagavan said. Okay, now how to tackle this? I will give you in the stages. It's a karma yoga only. But I will give you in a stages. That's the only thing. What we should do is we have to refine our desires. That's all. We have to refine. We have to bring a qualitative change in desires. That is required. And how it is, first thing is, tackling the desire, the solution of tackling the desire is twofold. Twofold. One solution is such in which definitely the desire, such binding desire, gets uprooted from its cause itself. And such a solution also is there, given by the Shastra. And if that solution definitely takes time, then the another solution, relative solution also is there, in which you can make the binding desires into non-binding desires. So for that matter, well, at least we should know first the cause of desire. Cause of desire we should know. All the desires in various heads in any human being ultimately are different expression of a one basic desire. All different desires in a given human being or in all the human beings are expression of a one basic desire. From there only all are arising. Right now I am feeling that I am a limited being, definitely finite being, I am incomplete being. And so I want to fulfill one basic desire, and this is, you can understand now, that I want to be a complete person. I want to be a full, I want to be limitless, etc. So that's a basic desire. And Vedanta says a limited being can never become limitless, naturally. And because I am finite, I acquire something which is again finite, and finite plus finite never turns to infinite. That we know very well. And so finite plus finite will be a finite thing only. Then you acquire another thing which is again finite. You are already finite, you add another thing, it's again finite. And so finite plus finite plus finite, again you remain finite. That's for sure. This is how we have learned in mathematics, right? So finite plus finite always remain finite. So definitely by fulfilling desires, various desires, acquiring various desirable objects, and your basic desire is you want to be full. You want to be a complete person. You want to be the self which does not have any lack. Right? Totally fulfilled self. Well, that fulfillment will not come by fulfilling desires. It's finite plus finite plus finite, always remain finite. And therefore that approach itself is an illogical approach. Approach of fulfilling desires, likes and dislikes, basically, through actions, naturally, is an illogical approach to satiate my basic desire of that I want to be a complete person. Definitely, if then this is a natural desire, right? The basic desire is a natural desire in every human being. And natural desire should have a solution, and the solution is there. It's not a fancy. If I have a desire to go to moon, well, you will say, Swami, better drop that desire. So fancy can be dropped. But a cultivated desire, can be dropped. But a natural desire cannot be dropped. A desire for hunger you cannot drop the desire of getting hungry and eating food, etc. Desire for eating food cannot be given up. So this is also natural desire. One is born with this desire. In fact, one is all the time struggling in order to be a complete person. That's how it is. And therefore, this is a very basic desire which has given rise to all desires. And this desire can be fulfilled only by knowledge. Because one cannot be limitless by action, You are always going to be limited. And if it is a natural desire, the solution is, perhaps I may be the limitless. in terms of a self, etc. Well, I don't want to go into that. We discussed last session very much. And I have an experience. I have an experience that I am boundless, etc., in a deep sleep state, and there I experience joy also. Anyway, so it's a question of this basic desire. If I want to fulfill, I can fulfill through knowledge, not by action. And so then you can definitely get a final solution of this binding desire, that you acquire a knowledge, self-knowledge. And then you will immediately say, Swamiji, that is not the solution for me because it is very far. It's a tall order. I can't acquire knowledge right away and then become free from that binding desire. So there is a relative solution. The relative solution is Karma Yoga. That was a Jnana Yoga, acquiring knowledge, but this is Karma Yoga. And in that, this is relatively one can be free from. One can definitely convert one's binding desires into non-binding desires. The force behind, the intensity behind the desire, can go away, which makes the person restless, can go away. And so the first stage in this is to make the binding desire into non-binding desire is to take a resolve first. And what is that resolve? I will not fulfill any illegitimate desire. That's the first. I will not fulfill any illegitimate desire. Like a desire of hurting somebody, desire of censuring somebody, desire of exploiting somebody. This we may not have, but I'm just in general I'm saying. Such desires may be there in the other people. So we are in a process of refining. Then I have to definitely get rid of certain desires which obstructs this refinement. So this kind of a first stage is take a resolve that I will not fulfill any illegitimate desire. One. Second thing is, I will not fulfill even the desire of a pleasure, money, and securities through illegitimate means also. That's also resolve. So two resolves we have to take. I will not fulfill any illegitimate desire. I will not even fulfill of objects, money, pleasure, etc., genuinely. But those objects also I won't acquire through illegitimate means. This resolve is very, very essential. And that is the first stage. Means I will not fulfill any desire in an immoral way, etc. This resolve itself will leave you to fulfill desire in a legitimate way, in a righteous way, right? Because you have taken a resolve of not fulfilling the desires through illegitimate way, unrighteous way, and therefore you are left with fulfilling your desires of money and pleasure, etc., arthakama we say, through righteous way. And and in that so basically may the person acquire whatever he wants, may the person gain in terms of arthakama, money, entertainment, etc., all these sense pleasures, etc. Let the person have any desire, but through legitimate way. And in this legitimate desires, or the desires which we want to fulfill through legitimate means, are of three types. The first is certain desires of a pleasure or a security, etc. They are weak in you, which basically, certain desires can be easily eliminated without fulfilling. We may also have certain desires. Without fulfilling, you can shade it off. What to do is, you have to take an interview of a person who has fulfilled that desire, and you will come to know what they have got by fulfilling. And if it is, such a desire, if you come to know, but someone else must have acquired, etc., and then you also come to know what he gains by fulfilling the desire. So if it is a milder variety, if it is of a milder variety, then sheer discriminative capacity is enough that I should not go into that. We do sometimes. And before buying certain things, we ask someone who has already bought it and what is their experience, etc. And then accordingly we may pursue or we may drop also. So we do. So this fulfilling desires in a legitimate way are of three types. One is of a milder variety. And then definitely you can shade it off. Second is, if it is of a little slightly more intense, then simply discriminative capacity won't work to neutralize it. You have to acquire it. You have to go through the fulfillment of that desire. And so you go through the experience and then know what it is all about. And that is a second variety. And this kind of a desire, after fulfilling, one has to do Purushartha Viveka. Purushartha Viveka, we have discussed several times, that there are Purushartha called Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Artha, Kama, Purushartha is there. And Dharma also. Keeping Dharma in righteous way, we are fulfilling. But what really after fulfilling that, gaining an object of a security or gaining an object of an enjoyment, what is really I'm wanting? Am I wanting a really object of security, or I'm wanting a freedom from insecurity? Really I'm interested in a security, or I'm interested in a freedom from insecurity? And then you will understand very clearly that you are really seeking an object of security, but you are not really seeking an object. You are really seeking a freedom from insecurity. That is the big thing. That's a very, very big thing, to neutralize such kind of desires. Purushartha Viveka one has to do continuously. And definitely object of pleasure. I'm not interested in object of a pleasure. Since I centered on oneself, I am feeling uneasiness, limited. I'm feeling I'm a limited being. So in order to get rid of this actually a notion, I acquire a certain desirable object. I undergo through a certain experience of a desirable object, etc. So Purushartha Viveka is very important after fulfilling. Even of a desire of which is fulfilled, which is a little more intense, one has to do Purushartha Viveka. And third type of a desire is, if it is too intense. And we cannot talk about even evil of the desire also. One has to allow the person to remain and hope that one will grow out that desire. I will give you an example. Like a child has a desire of gaining that balloon every year on his birthday, his or her birthday, And so you cannot complain that the child wants every time he wants a balloon, etc. That desire will remain. Every year he will ask. But we hope that when he becomes 25, on his birthday or her birthday, he would not ask for a balloon. That much we are sure. So certain desires are there. As you grow, they drop. Till then they don't drop. So then what to do with this? These are also binding desire. What to do with this? You can take up help of Ishvara. There is no way out. Because you cannot yourself come out of this intensity of such a desire. You, after fulfilling also, you want to fulfill again and again. And therefore, you have to take help of Ishvara. Through prayer, etc. Definitely, the intensity, Ishvara can reduce the intensity. That's the only thing. So, milder variety, take interview of someone else who has already experienced, who has gained, fulfilled the desire. And from there you learn. Parikshalokan karmachidan brahmano nirvedamaya. Sometime, or little intense, you fulfill, but then do Purushartha Viveka, and so that desire will not arise again. And third is, if it is too intense, take Ishvara's help. There is no way out. So this is a second stage. First stage was a resolve of not fulfilling any desire through illegitimate means, or not fulfilling illegitimate desire also. Hurting someone, censuring someone, this, that, exploiting someone. Second stage is genuine desires, artha kama desire, pleasure, etc., money, fine, fulfill. In that there are three varieties, and accordingly you do this viveka. And so now this is second stage is better in terms of refinement it is better than the first stage. But what happens in the magic happens in this stage is, if you fulfill any desire through legitimate means, fulfilling artha kama through dharma, keeping dharma in a view, itself will give you a purity of the mind. And then such desires of artha kama turns to desire for a moksha, desire for gaining freedom, etc. And these are also intense desire. Intense. Desire of a moksha is intense. Ask our own people are there. Swamiji, when will I get moksha? When will I get moksha? Desire for attending class, desire attending the class, desire for health. Now health becomes more precious. That's how all Shanti mantras include the prayer of gaining health and everything. Shariram me vicharshanam, jihva me madhumattama, karnabhyam, etc. Bhuri vishruvam. All desires. May I gain a good health. May my ears be able to listen to the teacher. All desires. Gaining moksha, gaining teacher, so many and intense. Why? How do you say, Swamiji, intense? How do you say it is binding? Well, this Sunday class is there and you want to come here in person and you are about to leave from the home and guest appeared in your home. That's it. Your mind is here and you are very upset. So desire which it is unfulfilled, if it makes you upset, it is a binding. We have already discussed. So even though such a desire also is a binding desire, but it is very good. These binding desires are there, making me upset. But the quality of these desires are very refined one, will lead you to self-knowledge. You will be able to, use your Viveka Shakti, Atmanatma. Vivekta can be done, definitely. It is, your Viveka Shakti is there, and definitely through that one can do this Viveka and acquire moksha. Then the same binding desires becomes already badhita. They become mithya. They are there, but they don't bother now. That's how it is. And that is how all the people who have gained moksha, called wise people, have number of desires. Number of desires. So many acharyas have a desire of reviving the religion. So many desire, our own acharya, Bhashyakara, has a desire of writing commentary on all Prasthanatrayi. Bhashyakara has a desire of establishing matha. Even Avatara has a full of desire. Full of desire. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrita. Paritranaya. Sadhunam paritranaya. So I want to protect. This fourth case indicates a desire. Fourth case in Sanskrit indicates a desire. Paritranaya sadhunam. For the sadhu, I want to protect. I want to take an avatar. I want to protect these sadhus. The people who are righteous people, I want to protect them. Etc. etc. So number of desires are there. And Bhagavan says also, I come with an agenda. I definitely descend with an agenda. All non-binding desires. All non-binding. So converting a binding desire into non-binding desire these are the three stages. It's actually Karma Yoga only, but we have just divided into three stages like that. So anyway, this is regarding handling the desires. Kama krodot bhavam vegam. So the desire which are, the vega, the force, the intensity born of these desires should go away. Bhagavan did not say kama should go away, and it is not possible also. No one can be free from likes and dislikes. Let the likes and dislikes be there, but they don't bother you. If you fulfill, well, fine. If you don't fulfill, also then you are fine. Then definitely such likes and dislikes you can retain also. Now second problem, anger. How to handle anger. Kama krodho bhavam vegam. So the intensity, well, is there in desire also and then in anger also. Now the problem with the human being is that we don't only act, because free will is there, so we will act, but we also react. And so reactions are a part of every individual's behavior. And they are totally mechanical. I don't have a say over it. Totally mechanical. A reaction is a response to a situation by a human being is in two terms. In terms of an action, in form of an action, or in form of a reaction. And generally, he is not aware that what is called action and what is called reaction. But his response, his or her response to the situation will be in the form of action and reaction both. A reaction is a mechanical response. It's impulsive. It just happens. An emotional response like anger is common basically to everyone. No one consciously decides to get angry, right? And so if I request you to get angry for 3 minutes now, you are not able to get angry. It does not mean that you are incapable of getting angry. The anger is there, but anger cannot be a conscious response, definitely. So if I can't get angry now, if I'm saying that you get angry, and if you can't get angry, it doesn't mean I'm free from the anger. If I'm free from the anger, I'm free from all other reactions also. So reactions in terms of depression, and reaction in terms of jealousy, and all these are also reactions. If I can become free from the anger, I can be free from other reactions also. But basically, the reaction is not which is in my hand. But what is reaction? Action we know is centered on the free will. What is reaction? Reaction is the behavior which I don't want from others, which others don't want from me, and which I don't want from myself also, is called reaction. So, like, no one likes to be on a receiving end of, getting anger, etc., from somebody. Similarly, no one really wants to be angry, jealous, or sad. So I don't want that others should be angry on me. Others don't want that I should be angry towards them. And I don't want to be angry. I also have an expectation that I should not be angry, right? And therefore, basically, this is called a reaction, in which it's a behavior which I don't want from myself also. When I become angry, definitely my self-esteem is affected. My self-esteem is, that's how after getting angry we repent also. We say sorry, etc. So I don't want from myself also. I don't want from others also. And others also don't want from me. That's called reaction. Anyway, but these reactions, basically, even though I don't want, or others don't want, etc., happens without one's consent. That is the definition. And anger is basically it's really a symptom of a problem that needs our attention. So they say it's an expression of a pain which I have picked up in childhood. They say like this. So anger is an expression of a pain, and that pain I have picked up, or acquired rather, in childhood. So as a child, I found myself basically helpless in some situation and experienced pain. But I was not in a position to express that pain because of a language inability, or because of atmosphere in the home, because child is helpless, and the personality of dad or mom is such that I just could not say anything. Or, there is a freedom in the home, but I could not express because I don't have a language as a child. In that case, that pain got buried within. And, as a result, that pain, became buried deep within me, and this is the basis for my present anger in adulthood also. So, definitely as an adult now, whatever anger is there is an indication of my areas of vulnerability, or my sensitive spots, we can say. And external situations are only trigger actually for my anger to flare. But the real problem is my own perception in the present, which has a source in childhood. the pain in the childhood is a source of my perception in present. Could you follow what I'm saying? Pain in childhood becomes a source of my perception in present. And because of my perception in present, I become vulnerable to many situations where this pain of childhood gets an expression now. That's called anger. I'll give you one or two examples also. So my perception is basically colored by this, my childhood pain actually. So it is important that one is aware of this thing in the whole scheme in dealing with this anger. Because generally whenever anger occurs, I blame an external situation. But actually, anger isn't just an expression of the pain within. And that pain, well, ultimately, which I have acquired in the past, in the childhood, etc. So each person basically has an individual past, and which is different from others' past, and therefore each person's anger is due to different reasons. External situation sometimes is same, but still one gets angry, other does not get angry, because his perception in the present, well, is different from other person's perception, and that is different. The perception in present is different because ultimately the pain in the childhood, which is buried, is due to different types of experiences, and that is why. So, well, definitely it is unique to the person, this kind of a thing. So someone might get angry, I will tell you this, because he thinks that, well, he is being criticized. The person does not criticize, but he feels that he is being criticized. So in his own estimation, he is not efficient. And that is due to, because in the childhood, the parents must have compared two children. They do sometimes. Oh, he is very good in this, he is very good in this, he is extremely good. Tell others also. They introduce like this. Their own children, they introduce to the guest in this manner. Oh, he acquires this A grade and this. And that leads to the other person, that other child, definitely, he develops it, that I am no good. In my own estimation, I am no good. But he could not say anything. So that pain is buried there. And now, in present situation, my perception is this, that this fellow is really censuring me. Even a hint of a censure from other person today will immediately, that person burst into anger. That person says, I'm not criticizing you, etc. But he says, no, you are criticizing me. You are putting me down, something. So, my present perception is responsible ultimately to bring out the anger, which has a source in the past. Pain is there. And someone gets, angry because he can't stand any change in a plan. Suppose a plan has been decided that we'll go on so and so day to the Gurukulam. And the plan differs, suppose. That person becomes upset. He gets angry. Because he feels that the situation is not under his control. So this is how, varieties of situations are there in which the perception of a people definitely differ, and that, well, definitely triggers this anger in the person. So as a child, I learned that, well, basically anger works. I wanted a balloon. And, I cried and, did all this, and I showed my anger also, and I got ultimately a balloon. So definitely, as an adult also, I continue to think anger works. That's what people think. Anger works. So in fact, many people think that, only anger works. And so one has to get angry for getting work to be done. So that's how this is a very poor management, of course, but this is how people feel. No one respects a person who is angry. If a manager also gets angry, and thereby, definitely gets something done, it reveals that, his employees wish to avoid his anger. Not that they have respect. The employees do not have a respect for that person. But they wish actually that they wish to avoid his anger rather. And therefore, they don't wish to lose their job also out of the person gets angry, etc. So they try to appease. that person, it does not mean that the employees really respect that person, etc. And because in anger, anger actually overwhelms, being a reaction, and it does not take your consent, it overwhelms you. And overwhelms you means you have a social status, that is overwhelmed. You have a good education, it is overwhelmed. And you have certain wisdom, certain kind of exposure in teaching, etc. That wisdom also is there. That is also overwhelmed. So everything, as a total person, is overwhelmed by this anger. And basically, no one respects this person who is angry. Some people considers the righteous anger is justified. Why? Because somebody has done injustice to me, and therefore, I should be angry. Some people feel like that. So I'm justified for getting angry, etc., with that particular person who is doing injustice. Well, that's not true. Any reaction that overwhelms me completely and rules over me cannot be justified. So, righteous objection can be there. Righteous anger should not be there. Righteous objection can be there. Means, basically, I can be firm in my conviction, etc., and refuse to yield to the pressure of others, etc. In this manner, I can deal with a situation rationally. But and this, if I deal like this earns me a certain respect also. But if I get angry, calling it as a righteous anger, etc., one loses respect from others. And so, we have to deal with the anger. Now, there are three methods in this. Since it is not in my hand, so you can understand that I cannot tell you that do this. Sometimes people say, don't be angry. That never works. Never works. In fact, if you cannot avoid, somebody says don't be angry, and if you cannot avoid the anger, you get more anger. That is what the situation is. Because it's a reaction, it's not an action. So anger, jealousy, frustration, depression, this sadness, all these are reactions, basically. All are reactions. So if you deal with one reaction, you begin to deal with other reactions also. I am giving you a model for how to deal with the anger, actually. So once you deal with the anger, you can successfully deal with other reactions as well. Now, to deal with any reaction, here we are talking about anger. First point is one has to distinguish it from action, because it is a reaction. So we have to distinguish that anger is a reaction. And so it is a response, of course, in a situation. But if this response is not in form of action, but it is in form of a reaction. So I have to distinguish that anger is a reaction. I must acknowledge that I have no say over an anger. Right? I have no say over an anger. I can't deal with my anger unless I accept that it happens without my consent. The very first thing is acknowledging the anger. That itself is a big solution. And people generally say, like alcoholic people, they say, at any moment I can give up the alcohol. That doesn't work. It never works, actually. So, see, because it is not in his hand, actually. Same way here, to be angry is not in one's hand. So, I must acknowledge first is this, that it happens without my approval. If I refuse to admit this fact, I will continue to be the victim of anger. Like the alcoholic person, keeps on drinking and saying also every time, I can give up any moment. I can give up at any moment, but it doesn't. And so, same way, I also continue to be the victim of anger if I don't acknowledge that anger is a reaction which is not in my hand, and definitely it happens without my approval, etc. So, that acknowledgement is a first step. And the second step is identifying the area of a vulnerability. That is, in which situation I become vulnerable to anger. No one really sees into that. No one. We may feel that, I am vulnerable to all the situations for anger. No, there is a pattern. In certain situations only I become angry. not in all situations. So we have to basically fix this thing very much. So since each person's area of vulnerability is unique to himself, herself, so each person has to find out himself the situations that promote his or her anger. And you observe that your reactions over a while for a period of time, then you will understand a pattern also. And that pattern will give you an insight into your anger. And then, because what I'm unconscious of will gradually appear for me that these are the areas of anger. These are the situations where anger begins to surface. So how does one begin? How to find out a area of vulnerability where anger comes? What Pujya Swamiji suggested for himself, and he suggested in our course also, is this. He says, maintain a journal, is a one way. There may be other ways, but he recommended this method. Maintaining a journal means if I get angry in some situation, I would note it down that in my diary, without any judgment of myself, of course, because I want to learn. So I would write down exactly what made me angry. And I do this consistently with every situation that makes me angry. And I maintain that for 1 month. And during that time, I would not definitely turn back the pages and read that yesterday what was the situation which made me angry, etc. No. So you just write on a fresh new page, you just write. And after a month, if you read that journal, you will find a particular pattern is emerging, which makes you, know that this is a pattern, this is a situation. And these are the situations in which I am vulnerable to anger. So, while in a process of addressing the anger, there is no reason to basically regret, what happened and why should I got angry, etc. So, I remember one sentence of Pujya Swamiji. He said that a learning person never regrets and a regretting person never learns. And therefore, if you want to learn now how to manage your anger, never feel regret, even though the anger has happened. Never feel regret. And so there is something to be learned in every situation, and so I need to be objective about a situation in order to learn from it. So they say this kind of maintaining journal is important in as much as they give an example also. Pujya Swamiji was giving an example somewhere that this is similar to like maintaining accounts, and to control money, etc. You maintain accounts. So without maintaining, you will not know. Without maintaining the accounts, you will not know that where did you spend the money, etc. So you want to know about an excess expenditure and etc. Where is waste, etc. So but then for that matter, you maintain the accounts. Same way here also. Ultimately, to deal with their anger, you just maintain a journal. That is for 1 month. So this kind of a writing, of course, make you well aware of basically this problem areas where you are vulnerable. And this awareness helps you to anticipate also your reactions in different situations, and basically you can respond consciously instead of mechanically, because it's a mechanical response. But once you know the pattern, and that pattern is emerging externally, situation is arising, and the pattern also is emerging in your mind, you become immediately conscious. So this is one way is determine the area of a vulnerability. Second is live one day at a time. That's a wonderful thing. That's also given by Swamiji only. Nothing of belongs to me, really speaking. All this were discussed somewhere by Pujya Swamiji. So I can deal with my anger by making a resolve. So getting up in the morning, I make a resolve that I will be alert to my anger. There's another thing also which I will tell later. This is a resolve of this type. I will be alert to my anger just for today. That's all. I will not be angry henceforth. That is not going to work. That will not work. I'll be basically alert to my anger today. And so, and Puja Swamiji was giving an example of our own life. We live our life day by day, one day at a time, naturally. Even though we may project our future, etc., we may go to the past also, but the reality of a life, the fact of life is you live day by day only. Once you go to a sleep, we don't know whether we are going to wake up tomorrow. Where we are going to wake up, that we don't know. Puja Swami used to say like that. Whether we wake up here or in heaven, we don't know. So means it's a fact of life that a person lives day by day. So he says that maintain also like this. Make a resolve only for a day. That I will be alert. Not that I will not be angry today. That's another solution. I'll be alert to my anger only for today. And that also, so you get a breathing space, Swamiji used to say that dealing with my anger one day at a time gives me a breathing space. So, well, my anger no longer seems to be unmanageable. Because for a day at least I can manage. If it is for the lifetime, I cannot manage. So for a day I can manage. And so I have to do it, to manage it for one day, and I can learn also to manage it for a lifetime, day by day. And third thing is auto-suggestion. That I will talk about it in next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.